Welcome back to the Titanium Hangar. Welcome to Robotech Week at the Titanium Hangar. This is going to be a part one of 3 videos I'm going to make this week talking about Robotech, but I'm talking about the G1 Jetfire, which is the Veritech design that was used for Robotech, and we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about their Veritech because they were not allowed to use the transforming design. We're also going to talk about day 2. We're going to talk about all the other vehicles that are involved in the Robotech Matchbox line back in the 80s. Though it's going to culminate in a figure review of all the Matchbox figures and some of the Harmony Gold figures for Robotech on Retro Wednesday. So get into talking about Jetfire first, and the other ones will come in the days to come. Coming up. Starting out with the box, this is my childhood box, my childhood Jetfire. I've had it. I bought it in Maryland when I was on vacation. I was so excited when I found it in a Toys R Us. It was the 3rd one we went to. It was all by its lonesome, but we have some artwork over here. We have both modes with armored or sleek styling, and we show all the stuff that's included more or less. And then I do love the transformations, those transformations that they showed up top here. So it was a whole lot of fun seeing those. I just remembering looking at those at the store. Here it is from the back. And of course, that artwork is just so iconic. So in one of my collection videos, I did show my Jetfire collection. And the thing about it is that a lot of people said, well, you're a huge Robotech fan. At the time, I was saying, no, I'm not really a Robotech fan. I'm a Jetfire fan. I just buy all of these, and if I see a good one, that I pick it up, or if I see a cheap one, I pick it up. And at the end of the day, all of these have some sort of problem, some sort of issue. I will need to do full-on restorations to at least 6 of them and get them 100%, but I'm still pretty excited that I have them, and I didn't pay a whole lot of money for them over the last 20 years of collecting these guys. So we're going to pick this Jetfire to have a look at overall and kind of see how he looks. And again, this is the same sort of design as we saw with the Robotech Valkyrie, but that was not made by the Matchbox. So we'll show the Matchbox one when we get to alt mode. So on the back, he has these thrusters and armor and all this armor stuff. This armor is actually kind of hard to come by. Looking down below here, the leg armor, there's these inside pieces here that connect, and those are kind of hard to get. They're getting harder and harder to find. And then we have the shield parts right there. Now there's a few more things about this. First of all, I love this figure. I love this design. It's super complex for a G1. It was one of the more complex G1s, which made it more interesting, but a little bit scary to sort of transform. So getting up here into his shoulders, he does have ratchets. And I have taken apart and repaired and fixed all of these, pretty much, most of these. And the ratchet, this is the first time I really truly understood how a ratchet works with the T's and all that kind of stuff. And so I had some fun working on these. And maybe this is one of the ones I worked on because I see some issues. And then, of course, that's an issue if your armor pops off. Got to be careful handling that. So this is one of those things I'm probably going to have to get in here and do a little more work to this guy. Alright, so more articulation, head side to side. It goes up just a little bit for the transformation. And then we did show the shoulder and then the 360 right there. The elbow joint goes to there. You do not have any hand articulation whatsoever, but you can kind of move that out of the way. Your leg goes out to here, but not much to the back. That's as far as we'll go. You do have about a 90 at the knee and nothing with the toes, but it is really one of the better G1 toys that's out there. And when it comes to articulation, when it comes to aesthetic and all that kind of stuff, it does win. Alright, so here's how he scales to a G1 Optimus Prime, and that is big. Now, he's bigger than even some of the combiners, or most of the combiners, and so with that, he is a giant figure, which to me, I've always liked. Size matters, bigger's better. I've always kind of had that mentality, quantity versus quality, as you can see with this collection of Jetfires, but it's still a big figure, and I had so much fun with it. I really enjoyed the fact that he was big. Of course, my original one, I only transformed it a few times, and I was very, very careful with it and kept every part in the box. So with these other ones I picked up along the way, it was more fun to see what all the toy can do. So this Jetfire still sort of holds its own versus modern day. I don't have any of the modern day Veritechs made by Bandai or any of that kind of stuff, but I do have this one here. Now this is a third party, and I don't remember the name of the company that made it, but this third party figure is called Sky Commander. I think that's the same name that DX9 is going to use for their Legend scale version, but looks pretty cool. Here we go, sliding in with this one here from, this is the Siege Hasbro, and that one of course is a Skyfire also, not a Jetfire, but I mean they can't use the Jetfire, but they sort of can in a way. But they do have a mask that works with this one and some other stuff. But look how much bigger he is, and it is kind of cool. It's kind of fun that they sort of have an homage to Jetfire with his mask and a few other, like I think a chest piece or something. But I didn't get those out for this. But we are going to look at the Masterpiece Fans Toys. We do have Takara on the way. So swapping this out here, here is Fans Toys, and it's huge. And Fans Toys went for the full-on Skyfire look. Also, tune accurate. And the whole point about this is that they brought Jetfire over, Hasbro did, just like they did with Diaclone, just like they did with Cassette Van for Soundwave, and then they brought Shockwave over. They brought pretty much everything in the first generation, the first season, and I think maybe second one too, that was all just other toy lines brought over and just rebranded as Transformers. But when it comes to Robotech, we're going to see that that show there actually was Japanese show rebranded for the US market. So here we go with the other two modes. We do have a jet mode and we do have the Gerwalk mode. Now I view the Gerwalk mode mostly as kind of a cop-out in a way. It's like halfway transformed. We could turn it into a Gerwalk mode. And so that's really all it is. It's a halfway transformed mode. And you could do it with it armored up, or you can do it with without armor like this one here. So either way, you can have the Gerwalk mode. I really do not like Gerwalk mode. I think that it was just kind of like an afterthought or something. And my belief is that because Hasbro secured the rights for Jetfire, that Harmony Gold and them, they could not use the full-on transformation, so they had to sort of do something in the middle with the Gerwalk mode. That's my belief, but I don't have the Veritech fighter. But the Veritech fighter looks a lot like this. So now there is a Veritech fighter that holds a 3 3/4 inch figure, and it is way bigger than this Jetfire. So that one that comes with the line from Matchbox, and then later released for Exo Squad in 1994, I believe, that is the same mold, but it's so much bigger than this. I don't have it. I would love to have a size comparison to it, but this one here, this is what I know is Jetfire. Jetfire from the 80s. I love this thing. It does have some retractable landing gear right here, so it's really awesome. So it can sort of roll. You got to be kind of careful though, because it depends on how strong your spring is and it holds up. Do have the thrusters on the back, and then all of the armor can still kind of carry over with this, and you can have it of course without the armor. Now without the armor, you can fold out and have the tail fins like we see right here in the Gerwalk mode. So great figure, and would have been awesome if Matchbox was able to make a transformable Gerwalk that actually held the figure inside, kind of like it would be kind of like the Panache Place Voltron. So I don't have any of the Harmony Gold variations of the Veritech fighter for the same mold as this one right here. So they did make a whole lot of different color variations, different head sculpts, all that kind of stuff. But I do have a KO, and it's really beat up. It's missing arms, the wrong head, and all that kind of stuff. But it's an undersized KO to give you an idea of kind of how it would look for the Robotech world, with the kind of the yellow right here. It's got this skull and crossbones, that kind of stuff. So still pretty cool. I kind of glad I came across this for 10 cents at a garage sale. But kind of wished I would have bought a few less Jetfires and a couple of actual Robotech ones along the way. The next thing we need to talk about is the infamous gun clip. So for the longest time I didn't know what it did. I just knew I did not want to lose my original, and when I bought somebody's collection. It had a Jetfire in it that was in pretty rough shape, one of these, and it had a gun clip. And so I was like, well, I'm gonna hold on to that, make sure I don't lose it. So what you do is, okay, there's some notches right here, and you're gonna slide those in between this joint that's there for the sliding button. And then when you slide that on, sort of clips in place, then you'll be able to put the gun in. So in alt mode, you'll be able to do it. Now I can't really demonstrate it on the one I have in alt mode because of the fact he has his armor on. So you can't do it with the armor on because the armor covers that spot. So it's one of those things that can only do if you take the armor off. Maybe you take the armor off of one of the arms or both of the arms, whatever. You don't really notice the armor on there, but that's the infamous gun clip and what it's used for. And it took me forever to figure out why the gun clip was even included. And so it's one of those things that's really, really hard to find. Okay, so this should wrap up a quick look at the Robotech Veritech, or we all know it as Jetfire. And tomorrow we're going to get into the rest of the vehicles. All of the rest of these vehicles that are out there, all of the other vehicles, everything else in the Robotech line except for the figures. Day 3, we're going to tackle the figures. Let me know what you think about Jetfire and Robotech. Like, subscribe to Deer Hanger out.